We talked a lot about Ahsoka and how important Lucasfilm felt it was in the lead up to its premiere. It was so important they did a massive marketing campaign, huge fan events, and a special screening at Disneyland that they advertised everywhere. And of course, it was important enough to them to change how they release shows on Disney Plus. No longer at 3 a.m. or midnight Pacific. Instead, a primetime event desperately to try to get this thing trending and try to get people to care about this character and this show. And what we saw from the ratings was a nightmare for them. It was so bad that Lucasfilm and Disney had to immediately come out and do damage control and try to put a spin on it. Like, it's actually great. We're actually really, really happy with these amazing ratings, which, by the way, are tied for the worst we've ever seen for a Star Wars show on Disney Plus. Ahsoka viewing numbers are well below The Mandalorian and Obi-Wan Kenobi. But we have seen this push from Star Wars, from Disney, from the mainstream media, from everybody in the aftermath of Lucasfilm coming out and Star Wars announcing that, according to themselves, they got 14 million views on the premiere episode over the course of a week. No comparisons to anything else. No, what did Obi-Wan get? What did Mando get? What does your normal show get? Nothing like that. So it's a meaningless fucking number, and a lot of people have called it out. And now people are starting to be forced to acknowledge that when you actually take the data and compare it to all these other shows, Ahsoka looks like it's a disaster. And I don't think episode 3 turned a lot of people around on their thoughts when it comes to that. New data reveals Ahsoka's weak viewership versus Star Wars other shows. Is this a trend we're seeing? I almost remember this same website writing an article about The Mandalorian Season 3 not that long ago. Oh, that's right. The Mandalorian Season 3 suffers weak premiere viewership. And then it says right here, Mandalorian Season 3's low viewership explained. They tried to make excuses about why it was so much lower than Season 2, why it was so much lower than Book of Boba Fett or Obi-Wan or anything. Reality was, Star Wars fans have turned away. They have given up any hope. And Ahsoka, with half the viewership of Obi-Wan Kenobi and a significant drop-off from Mando Season 3, which was just a couple months ago, is another massive indicator of that. And in fact, I was surprised. When you go and look at Ahsoka ratings, some of the things that come up on the first page for Ahsoka ratings, it's pretty wild to see how even some left-leaning institutions, stuff like that, are talking about this. Ahsoka review, more bad Star Wars in a galaxy too far away to care about. Ahsoka review, Disney's fluffy new Star Wars series is the anti-Andor. That might be a good or bad thing, depending on who you are. Disney's Ahsoka is flat, flimsy, and devoid of life. I agree to that. Ahsoka stiffly brings the Star Wars Rebels universe to live-action life. Ahsoka review, Star Wars drifts back to the dark side in sluggish stock Disney Plus spinoff. I mean, it's getting annihilated right now from a lot of people. And bottom line, not as many people are interested in the show as they need it to be. For it to be tied with Andor in terms of viewership, that's not what they expected. Because this is not a random spinoff featuring a character that nobody cared about. This is a character that they thought had a big fan base for Clone Wars and Rebels. And of course, the way they wrote this series, you have to know everything about Clone Wars or Rebels, or you're not going to understand this at all. And the general audience has fucking rejected the Ahsoka series. When you look at these numbers, it's comparable to Secret Invasion. If you were to take Secret Invasion out to its basically live +5 or 6-day debut, Ahsoka might just barely beat it. Maybe. That's what we're talking about. This is the comparison for Ahsoka right now. And just a few months ago, everybody was shitting all over Secret Invasion for its viewership numbers and what a massive flop it was for Disney Plus. It was a complete and total embarrassment. That's equivalent to what Ahsoka is pulling, the numbers that Ahsoka is pulling right now. So they can try to do all the spinning they want. They can put out any numbers they want, whether those are legitimate or not. When you don't have anything to compare it to, it really doesn't matter. Because if they were to then put out, oh, by the way, Obi-Wan got 30 million views in that same time frame, Ahsoka wouldn't be looking very good. Oh, by the way, Mandalorian Season 3 got 20 million views in that same time frame. They wouldn't be looking very good. That's why they haven't provided those numbers. And the very fact that Disney and Lucasfilm got together and decided for the first time ever to release Disney Plus viewership numbers like that, according to them, that tells you how desperate they are to spin this in their favor. It tells you how much they are panicking right now of something that they had a lot right on this series and the show. Remember, it's supposed to lead up to a movie from Dave Filoni. And right now, it looks like people absolutely despise it. And it's certainly not getting the type of viewership that they hoped for.